Douglas Allen Bickford. It is the 22nd of September 2022 at about 9:17 a.m. here on a Thursday, broadcasting live out of my 105-year-old house. From my hometown of Klamath Falls, Oregon. I graduated here from Klamath Union High School in 1974. That makes me 66. I'm just not going to add another 6 to that, okay? Anyway, I am on Facebook and YouTube for absolutely one reason. To teach you how to be positive about who, what, and where you are, okay? And in order to do that, you have to attain and maintain a thing called self-esteem. But before I get into that, I am a psychiatrist, therapist, and counselor. I taught myself how to be one, okay? You don't need a college degree to learn something. The only reason you need a college degree for is so you can go out and get a job and make money at whatever profession you go to college for. Because the company that's going to hire you requires it, okay? And so, because they think that because you have the college degree that you're smart enough to, you have the qualifications to do that job, whatever it might be, right? But you don't have to have that college degree if you're not to learn something, and if you're not out to make a living at it. That's what I am doing, okay? I taught myself psychiatry, okay? And it makes me qualified as a psychiatrist, therapist, and counselor. I can call myself one because I've taught myself how to be one. And I'm not working for anybody, I'm working for me. I am giving you out there, offering all of you out there on Facebook and YouTube, free therapy sessions, 1 hour a week, 4 times a month. 458-232-5238 as a psychiatrist, therapist, and counselor. But you're going to have to get very honest with yourself first if you want to fix your messed up mind. And you're going to have to get very honest with me, your psychiatrist, and trust me as your therapist and counselor. And so call me 458-232-5238 to schedule your first therapy session. That's phone number twice, right? Anyway, the reason I'm doing this, I'm a victim of emotional, physical, and sexual abuse. I've taught myself how to heal myself because of all my knowledge of how the mind works, okay? And I can also teach you how to heal from it. There have been billions, I said, billions with a B, folks, that have suffered at the hands of abusers because of emotional, sexual, and physical abuse. It's one of the sad statistics. So more than likely, you are one of them, just like me, okay? We have been taught and trained that it is a weakness to ask for help. It's not a weakness, folks. It is strength. I can help you, seriously. And this is all serious. This ain't fiction. It's all real. Okay? I can seriously help you, and I will. And I will be your therapist, your psychiatrist, your counselor, and we will become friends. And I'm allergic to cats, so I got like 10 cats in my house. So during the winter, you know, when all the windows are shut, that's why I'm always like itching my eyeball. I'll put a fan on me and that'll help. So anyway, To attain a healthy mind and to heal from your emotional, physical, or sexual abuse, you have to attain and maintain a thing called self-esteem. What self-esteem is, it's how you feel about yourself inside. It's also known as self-confidence, self-worth, self-love. Think of self-esteem as this way. What it is, it's, you know how we've all been in romantic relationships. You know how you have that good feeling when you first meet that person? And, you know, they walk on water, and both of you are all excited, and you can't wait to hang out with them. You're bragging to all your family and friends about how great these people are. Well, what self-esteem is that good feeling towards yourself. Dr. Susanna McMahon, who is also my trainer, has taught me how to be a psychiatrist, therapist, and counselor through this book. She's got a doctorate in psychology. She has the real deal. She sat in all classes because she wanted to make money at it, and she did her whole life. Doctorate in psychology and a master's in philosophy. She's 73, lives in Madrid, Texas with her husband. She wrote this book in the 90s. It's published in 1992. Every chapter in this book talks about how we've been trained and taught not to have self-esteem, not to have a healthy mind. So she's had thousands of clients that would hire her and pay her big bucks to fix their unhealthy mind, to help them heal from their sexual, emotional, and physical abuse. Unlike I'm going to do for you, it's going to be free of charge. You're going to have to buy this book. That's it. And we're going to go through this book one lesson at a time, one chapter at a time. Anyway, she knew that nobody was teaching self-esteem even back then. Now it's 1,000 times worse with the social media. Nobody's still teaching how to get it, except for Douglas Allen Bickford here in Klamath Falls, Oregon. Okay. She had to come up with a concept back then, 30 years ago, folks, to get her clients to give themselves self-esteem. Nobody can give you self-esteem except for you. Here is that very simple concept that she came up with, and now I am teaching, and I have been for over 2 years, or pushing 2 years. You look at yourself in the mirror, you say 4 things instead of criticizing yourself, folks. Say, I love you, I love my inner child, I'm worthy to be loved, worthy to love, I am full of goodness. Those 4 things to yourself daily will give you what is known as self-esteem. It will, but to maintain that self-esteem, it's like lifting weights. It's going to give you instantaneously give you self-esteem. And like I said, to maintain it, it's like lifting weights. You have to practice it. You start lifting weights and you stop, you have to start it from scratch. Self-esteem is the exact same thing for the brain. So you'll have to plan on saying those 4 things to yourself in the mirror daily for the rest of your life. Literally, it'll take you less than 10 seconds. I love Douglas Allen Bickford. I love my inner child. I'm worthy to be loved, worthy to love. I am full of goodness. Those will give you, instantaneously give it to you. And like I said, you've got to say it for the rest of your life. But if you're slender, you're young, and you've got lots of money, and you're good looking, then you can say, I love Douglas Allen Bickford too. And then you and I will hook up. Just kidding. Anyway, so just plan on saying those 4 things to yourself in the mirror daily, folks, for the rest of your life. Self-esteem, the reason mirror therapy is so powerful is because a psychological event happens in your brain. You cannot lie to yourself in the mirror. That's why you can very easily get in front of the mirror, talk trash about yourself like a lot of us do, especially when we get older, and because that's how you feel about yourself. And you can't lie to yourself in the mirror, so you can't say good things about yourself in the mirror because you don't feel good about yourself. Comes from all our training. Okay. Anyway, so the very first time you do it, you'll have to force yourself to do it. Okay. it'll feel very strange and awkward, just like when I told you to do that. Okay? But do it beyond that feeling. The more you say it, the more you feel it, and the more you believe it. Self-esteem is the absolute most important thing you can have on the planet as a human being. There's two reasons. We can't be content without it. Content is also known as internal peace. Content is, what it means is you feel good about how and what you are. Um, there are 12 things that people are using to try to be content. They are self-harm, which is like cutting and scratching yourself. Okay. All the social media, doesn't matter which one it is, uh, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, the list goes on, right? Trying to make yourself feel good. Okay. Uh, Drugs, all of them, all the illegal street drugs, heroin, methamphetamines, and all that, right? All the prescription pills that your doctors are doling out to millions of people unnecessarily. And then, of course, pot is a huge one, right? And then, but you can include caffeine and nicotine. Caffeine is a stimulant. Yes, I said your favorite beverage, coffee, unless it's decaffeinated, has caffeine in it. It's a stimulant, and you're using it for one reason, to make yourself feel better. Okay? And then nicotine, exact same thing. Is it like an opiate? It calms you down, excuse me. It calms you down. Unlike caffeine, stimulant is a stimulant, revs you up like meth. And that's why you have to have a cup of coffee or two or three when you get up in the morning, okay? Because you're making yourself feel good by that stimulant. A lot of people will smoke and have a cup of coffee at the same time, right? My mother was like that. Cup of coffee in one hand, a cigarette in the other. And every morning, same ritual, you know. And there's billions of people doing that too. Anyway, uh, alcohol, exactly the same thing. Okay, you're using alcohol for one reason. I don't care if you're drinking a glass of wine a night or a beer a day, or two, or three. You're using alcohol to make yourself feel good. Uh, Beer, wine, and then all the hard liquor. There's absolutely no reason to put that stuff in your body. There's no health benefit for it, just like caffeine. Okay, no matter what the television says. Okay, you're using it just to make yourself feel good. Sex, exactly the same thing. You have sex, it feels good. As soon as you're done, the feel good goes away. Then you have to have more sex, and then people get themselves in very bad situations because of the sex drive, right? Cheat on your spouse. You get tired of the woman or the man you're with, and then you go cheat on them to get the same good feeling with the sex part of it, right? And then that always just turns into a freaking nightmare. Okay. Food, exactly the same thing. You eat when you're hungry, then people overeat because it makes them feel good to eat. Then they eat beyond being full, then they get overweight, and then they get overweight because they overate, then they feel bad about themselves because they got overweight, because they overate. Gambling, exact same thing. You go to the casino, you go to the bar, wherever they got video poker, right? You go play cards, feels good to gamble and feels good to win. But as soon as you lose, you feel terrible because you lost your money. And I don't care if it's just $20. You feel like you wasted your money because you lost, right? But when you're putting the money in the machine, or you're ahead, okay, it feels really good, all right? People commit suicide because they gamble and lose everything they own, right? I knew a guy lost his house because his wife was addicted to video pokers in all these different casinos. You know, they were from Montana. And they was living in an RV in 2001. when he told me the story. Man, it was like, that's a terrible thing. Television, a huge one. Okay, you turn on the boob tube, man, it feels really good while you're watching it. And then as soon as you turn that boob tube off, it doesn't feel good, and it doesn't matter what you watch. Rachel Maddow, Sean Hannity, Tucker Carlson, all these talking heads on Fox News and MSNBC feeding you all this stuff about the politicians, all the junk going on around the world that's all out of your control. Makes you feel good to watch that and watch those talking heads, perfect people, right? Talking trash about Biden, talking trash about Trump, it makes you feel good that there's somebody just like you that has the same thing going on, and they're feeding you into that. It makes you feel good. And or all the movies that you watch, okay? Makes you feel good to see people that are doing stuff like The Rock, right? He's got a brand new movie coming out on the 23rd of October, I think. Shows him shooting lightning bolts out of his hands and stuff, folks. He is not. He is just like you and me, imperfect, gonna die just like you and me. But it makes you feel good to go into that world of illusion and forget the reality of what you live in, okay? Because we live in a world that's full of pain, fear, and death is inevitable. It is coming for you just like it's coming for me. I choose to not watch any of it. I don't do any of this stuff anymore. I am facing the fact that life is full of pain, fear, and death is inevitable. I'm going down. When I die, my video is going to be out there permanently trying to help you all out there. Help yourself, okay? And get out of that illusion, okay? Because I know I'm dying, okay? And so are you, folks. You ain't getting out of it, man. And you have to face the fear of that death, just like, and I can teach you how. Religion, that's another huge one. People go to church, it makes them feel good. I don't care which one it is. Buddhist, Muslim, Christian, Seventh-day Adventist, Mormon, Jehovah's Witness, Baptist, Church of Christ, Church of God. The list goes on. Catholic, Lutheran, Episcopalian. There's a church there's 4 churches. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 churches on my street alone. I mean, 4 of them are right down the block. Right, a block down on this street. There's 3 on one street. And then there's a 4th Mormon church down there. And then there's like a Church of God, like 4 blocks down the road. But they're all over the place, every street corner, right? So, but it makes you feel good to go to that church and give them your money and participate in all that, the potlucks, the Wednesday night service, the Sunday night service, the Sunday morning service. Makes you feel good to hang around with all those people that believe all that stuff like you. The communion thing, right? But it's always a temporary fix. And that once you leave that church, then that good feeling goes away. So you have to go back to more church, okay, to get the same good feeling. Let's see, material possessions. Get something new. Get something used. Get something different. Feels good when you get that. But that good feeling always goes away. Okay, hoarders became hoarders. See that show Hoarders? Where they just stuff their house full of junk. They're trying to make themselves feel good with stuff. It makes them feel good to get junk, right? But it's always a fleeting thing. That's why people become hoarders. That's why people have 100 pairs of shoes in their closet. That's why people have, more houses, more cars, and that they don't even know what to do with because they're trying to make themselves feel good by stuff, okay? It's always a temporary fix. New relationship, y'all know what I'm talking about. You get a new relationship, feels really good at first, right? But as soon as you move in and marry him, or if you just move in or whatever, whether you're marrying him or not, that good feeling goes away when you start getting to know that person. So then you want to go out and get more good feeling when that gets stale and boring, right? And that's why people get divorced, because they're looking for that good feeling again, trying to find that same uh, feeling from somebody else, right? And it works for a little while, right? And then the very last one is money. Get some money. I don't care how much you get. Feels good when you first get it, but that good feeling never lasts, okay? Uh, Whether you save it, blow it, buy something cool with it. As soon as that money's gone, even in the savings account, you want more money to make yourself feel good. Uh, so those are the 12 things that people are trying to make themselves feel good with. And the problem with all of them is you're all a temporary fix. There's absolutely only one thing that's going to make you permanently content, uh, and that's to attain and maintain self-esteem. And that is by saying 4 things to yourself in the mirror. I love you. I love my inner child. I'm worthy to be loved. I'm worthy to love. I'm full of goodness. Every day for the rest of your life. Then you will be permanently content, and uh, you will get internal peace. You won't be happy all the time, but you'll have this internal peace. I got it now. Anyway, those are the 12 things, okay? Uh, and like I said, the absolute only thing that's going to give it to you is the 4 things to yourself in the mirror. The next reason is it is absolutely the most vital thing you can have as a human being. We can't love or be loved without it. The way to tell that if you have self-esteem is if you can very confidently say the 4 things to yourself in the mirror, you and your spouse, if you're with somebody, then that means you have self-esteem. I'm talking about daily here. But if you can't say those 4 things to yourself in the mirror, and you want to call me nuts for telling you that, then you don't have self-esteem. Uh, that's how you tell if you got it or not. So what happens is people that don't have self-esteem will attract each other. And then because you get exactly what you are. If you don't have it, you get somebody with it. If you do, you'll get somebody with it. And after the relationship, you get together for a while and you move in or whatever you do, that good feeling always goes away. So then, as soon as that good feeling goes away, that's when all the fights and the arguments start. Because you mistake that good feeling for love, right? The cheating on each other, the drug and alcohol use, getting in the car, going down the road, trying to get away from that person, right? Telling all your family and friends about how terrible these people are to you. And then because the relationship turned toxic, you'll divorce or separate, right? And then the same 2 people will go out and jump in another relationship, and the exact same thing will happen because you got in another one without self-esteem. That's why I've been married 4 times. That's why you've been married more than once. That's why you've had many failed relationships. That's why I've had many failed relationships. The second thing that'll happen to the God who have no self-esteem is this. They'll stay in that toxic relationship forever. And the reason they stay is because they're being codependent on each other for whatever reason. They don't want to be a failure. They can't be alone. They don't want to be embarrassment to all their family and friends and church members. They're afraid to leave. They have nowhere to go, so they stay in it forever. And then all the emotional, sexual, and physical abuse that those 2 doled out to each other in their children all gets swept under the rug by all the family, and then it becomes a dysfunctional family at that point, and the dysfunctional families create more dysfunctional families down the line, and the exact same thing happens, okay? I mean, the cycle continues, right? The very last thing that'll happen that you got together no self-esteem is after so many failed relationships and so many failed marriages, these 2 people just go, screw it, I'm done, I can't find anybody to love me, I can't find anybody to love. And they'll just exit out of the romantic scene and be alone the rest of their lives. but they'll be just as miserable alone as they were in the relationship, because you can't have internal peace, be content until you attain and maintain self-esteem. Uh, the absolute only way that they're going to be content is to attain and maintain self-esteem. Uh, so I have the cure, I have the fix. Psychiatrist-Douglas, Bickford therapist and counselor who can help you. 458-232-5238. I got the cure, baby. I got the fix. And that is the 4 things to yourself daily for the rest of your life. And then all participating people, to the tune of billions of people, get this book, do the many other concepts in it, and it will fix that toxic relationship. If you're all alone out there, it'll make you content permanently. You won't have to use the 12 things anymore to make yourself feel good. And if you're in a toxic relationship, it'll give you the strength and the power to remove yourself from that relationship if the other person, your partner, doesn't want change. And if you're in a dysfunctional family, it'll give you the strength and courage to remove yourself from that family so you don't get abused anymore by all these dysfunctional people. That's the fix, okay? So, I am going through this book one lesson at a time, and here's that next lesson. What can I do about my future? Lesson number 10. We seem to be obsessed with the future. This is understandable when we realize that our doing model is a goal-oriented one, and that in this model, nothing is ever enough. No matter what is happening in the present, we have to concentrate on the future. And because, like the past, we cannot live in the future, this orientation takes us out of the present, out of what we can control and manage. Just as guilt lives in the past, anxiety lives in the future. We have become so future-oriented that when we become uncertain about the future, we tend to panic. If the future is shortened by disease or circumstance, we feel cheated and resentful. It seems to be easier to conceive of ourselves as what we will become than what we are. Every day, here's what I say to myself. More than once, I will not live in the past in guilt. I will not live in the future in anxiety. I will live in the moment, just like I'm saying it right now. You can do the same thing, folks. This is all we got is right now. Okay. It'd be unrealistic for most of us to have no thought for the future. Part of our definition of maturity is taking care of ourselves both now and later. Therefore, some planning in the here and now needs to be future orientated. We can do things now for tomorrow, hoping that we will have a tomorrow, and hoping that we will have a tomorrow, and that what we are planning will work later on. The first realization, however, listen to this very carefully, needs to be that our concept of the future is only a concept and not a guarantee. Because something can happen to you, folks. Nothing is certain, and no future time is certain. It is unrealistic to think that you can control what will happen to you. The paradox here is the more emphasis we have on the present, the more we focus on the best we can be right now, the more the future seems to take care of itself. And that's exactly what I do every day, every waking moment. Once we give up the illusion of control, fate seems to work in our favor. And if it does not, if calamity occurs, we are better able to accept and deal with it. Because we are survivors, the future is never as bleak or fearful as fear of the future. Relax. We do not ask this question when we are enjoying the present and feeling secure in ourselves. In the last 2 years, this has all happened to me. It can happen to you too, folks. I can teach you how. There is no need for anxiety in the moment. We do not have to panic when we can do something. In the present, we can breathe to relax. We can consider our options. We can acknowledge our feelings. We can accept ourselves. We can choose. We can experience. We can be heroes. We can do none of these things in the future. The best we can do in the future is to waste the present dreaming about being a hero. Remember, time is not replaceable. Live the moment well. Try to stay in the here and now, and there will be no need for anxiety or regret. Woo! There's a very powerful lesson for you, folks. Say 4 things to yourself in the mirror daily without fail, folks. Get this book. Call me and schedule your first therapy session. I can be your mentor, your psychiatrist, your therapist, your counselor, your friend. 458-232-5238. You all have a great day out there on this Thursday. I'm going to have another chapter for you tomorrow, which is chapter 11, lesson 11. Why don't we need guilt or anxiety? You all have a great day out there. I'll be talking to you tomorrow.